to another DSF Watches LOST Too. This episode was called
Sundown.
Sundown, thank you very much. And that was the intro, okay.
My favorite Jack moment was the quarter-of-a-second shot of Jack walking through the hallway of the hospital, because that was the only Jack moment.
That was my favorite as well.
I was going to say the exact same thing because that was the only Jack moment in the episode.
I noticed that, but it didn't make too much of an impression on me, so I was going to say no moment.
We didn't even see a
be
split second of him, so I don't have any...
I liked when he was in the hospital as the patient in the bed as the camera was panning to catch up to Sayid in the same scene where you see Jack.
Me too. I really
Sawyer was not in this episode.
I really want to see that patient.
My favorite line was, now why did you have to go and do that? Spawn Lockster said it to Sayid after he stabbed him.
What was the line?
Now why do you have to go and do that?
Okay. Mine is, I make good eggs. By Kimi. I feel that I too make very good eggs.
Wow.
And I can
relate
certainly
to Kimi.
relate to Kimi. And he's kind of a badass guy who makes good eggs.
You got one of those poachers?
I'm kind of a badass guy who makes good eggs.
Sayid saying to Dogen, I'd like to stay, and then drowning him. That was pretty intense.
I enjoyed the line, Dogen telling Sayid, I think it would be best if you were dead, because nobody really likes Sayid anymore, especially now that he's a zombie. My biggest disappointment is pretty similar to what it was last week. Still haven't seen Desmond, still haven't seen Widmore, and we didn't see any of Richard at all this episode.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but my biggest disappointment was a obvious, more than has been obvious, Smoke Monster Locke connection. But I will say that they explained it by saying Dogen was the one keeping Locke out of the temple, not the Ash. And that was my concern, was that the Ash had nothing to do with it before. And they have said that the Ash had nothing to do with it. So I am okay with this in the lore of Lost. I still don't know, and I still
Why
don't know.
can't he just walk up his lock? Maybe you're right. Maybe he's
I am
bound
right.
to...
Why are you talking me out of this after you guys laughed at me last week? That's what I want to know.
I'm just saying, stick to your guns, man!
Thank you, Dave. I'm going to stick to my guns.
Stick to your guns!
I am saying that John Locke is not the smoke monster. And that you are all being deceived.
My biggest disappointment was the fact that Dogen and Lennon were killed in this episode. It was kind of a bummer.
I was disappointed, much like Frank's was. We didn't have any Widmore. But I was also very disappointed that we had the school closings for the very light precipitation.
Very meta disappointment right here.
Clogging up our screen. I was surprised that we had a really cool fight scene in the beginning of the episode between Dogen and Sayid.
I was surprised to see Kimi back. I know that a lot of the characters were going to be meeting each other in our 2004 LA SpaceX timeline, but I never thought Kimi would be back.
When Alana, Frank Lapidus, and Ben showed up right at the end, that was kind of very weird. Yeah, it just kind of happened.
The fact that Ben appeared for... Ben, who has been an extremely pivotal character in this show, appeared for an extremely brief amount of time as probably the biggest vagina of a character I've ever seen in my life. And I don't even remember what he said.
Was he in the episode?
Yes.
Really?
He was there with Alana and
I
Lapidus.
keep remembering.
Biggest vaginas are big exaggerations.
The only thing I
They
remember
said
him
do an
from is
errand
the
and he
preview
did it.
for next week.
No, he was in the episode because they flashed a bit, like they've come in. It's Alana and Lapidus, and they break in, and Ben just says,
Right.
"You have to come with us," and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like no more Ben.
I liked Sayid's revelation when he said, "Apparently I'm evil."
what Dogan said about his past or future, whatever you want to call it, however he ended up there, it definitely didn't. I think a lot of the internet and I have been assuming he's very ancient, like Alpert or others, but he seemed to be much more modern in the way he talked to promotions and banking and his job. So it seems like maybe he's been living, like maybe the time cycle idea has more validity, or it's gaining more credibility again here with him seeming to, in baseball, of course, also.
The Kimi connection to Sayid and Jin, I see that as a Widmore connection, and so I am predicting Widmore to be coming up soon. Obviously, Kimi had a connection to Widmore, and I think Jin or Sun's family has a connection to Widmore, and therefore I think that at least in the new timeline, we're going to see Widmore soon, maybe in both timelines.
No.
No.
No, it did not.
Yes. I was looking for Desmond and did not get him, but also in my fine print,
Fine print. What do you have there?
I said, and John Locke is not the triple underline smoke monster. So I am once again sticking to my guns.
I wanted to see Vincent, of course.
Again.
Surprisingly, no dog sex toy.
I'm sticking to my guns. I wanted to see Vincent.
The name of Swan Lockster. Franks was going for it last week, and I thought it was a pretty good guess. It felt like it was going to come out last week, and it didn't. And then I figured, you know, hey, he's bound to get a little more screen time this week, and he did, and they still didn't say his name.
Sayid equals Jacob. I was hoping we would get some information on whether Sayid was a zombie or just a reincarnation of Jacob.
Him and Kate share the same chiclets.
There's definitely something going on there, but viewers, follow up with
Many
us
tales from the Crackton family.
on this.
Many
All right.
tales from
Check
the
our
Reapers.
facts. Thank you, viewers.